So back when I was single and traveling alone, I wasn't very particular with how I packed. I mean, carrying a bigger suitcase is not much different than carrying a smaller suitcase, so whatever. When I became a mother and I began traveling with a toddler and a baby at the same time, it was a totally different story, particularly when we were traveling without my husband. All of a sudden, every tiny ounce of weight was on my shoulders. I mean, it's hard enough to keep your children safe and comfortable through the security lines and in the terminal and on the airplane and in the rental car. The last thing that I needed was to be saddled with a bunch of heavy and awkward bags. So I quickly became very strategic about how I packed. And thankfully, I found that it's really easy to save a bunch of suitcase space, particularly when it comes to clothes and shoes. Hi, I'm Trisha Childers with Practical Family and Home on Purpose, and today I'm going to be sharing my top 3 tips for intentionalizing your travel outfits. Tip number 1, begin with the shoes. Shoes are bulky, they are heavy, and quite often they're the most difficult part of the outfit to get right. So if I begin by packing a whole bunch of outfits and then go back and find shoes to match, I'm probably going to end up packing way too many pairs of shoes and they will fill up my suitcase and make it heavy. So instead, I begin with the shoes. On our last Christmas trip, for example, I only packed 2 pairs. 1 pair of heels for all of the Christmas parties and the church services and things like that, and 1 pair of boots for the casual outfits. And I wore the boots on the plane, so I didn't even have to pack them. By making sure that all of my fancy outfits went with this 1 pair of heels, and all of my casual outfits matched this 1 pair of boots, I could cut way back on the bulk. Now let's talk about how to build those outfits. Tip number 2, aim for as many mix and match options as possible. This summer, when my family goes on our annual beach trip, I know I'll be traveling with a limited amount of clothes and doing laundry and wearing the same pieces over and over again, but I would still like to enjoy at least some variety. So when I pack, I go for the most versatile pieces. Each of these 5 t-shirts match with at least 2, if not all 3 of these pairs of shorts. So even though I'll be wearing the same pieces over and over again, I'm not necessarily forced to repeat the exact same outfits. I actually make use of this same capsule wardrobe idea in my wardrobe lesson series because in many ways, your closet is basically a giant suitcase that you are packing for the next few years of your life. So if you'd like some more ideas on how to downsize your entire wardrobe and get all of your outfits to function a little bit better, you should definitely check out that series. I've included a link in the description of this video to the free introduction video. So when we're done here, go ahead and click on that link and check it out. Okay, back to our suitcase. Now that we have strategically built as many mix and match options as possible around minimal pairs of shoes, there's one more danger that we have to look out for. My 3rd tip is to avoid unnecessary fillers. I'm talking, of course, about accessories and beauty products. We have to be just as intentional with those little items as we were with the bigger ones. So as you're packing up your suitcase, if you noticed an extra little corner of space or an empty pocket, you might be tempted to say, oh, maybe I will take this little wrist purse or that extra baggie of jewelry or another lipstick or another perfume bottle. These little items feel harmless because each one is so small, but if we're not careful, they add up fast. And then all of that wonderful space that we just worked so hard to save will be filled up with a bunch of unnecessary items. So the question then becomes, what are you supposed to do? If you're packing up and you notice that you have extra room in your suitcase, what do you do with that extra space? Well, you've got 2 options. Option number 1 would be to transfer everything from the bigger bag into a smaller bag if you can, because smaller bags are always easier to travel with, right? The other option would be to look at the other stuff that your husband and your kids are packing and see if you can fill up that extra space with their stuff. And the more you consolidate, you might just be able to ditch an entire bag altogether, which would be wonderful. Now, of course, this is your trip, this is your stuff, you get to decide what is truly worth bringing, but the point is, whatever you pack, pack it on purpose. Well, I hope you enjoyed these travel outfit tips, and while you're here, go ahead and check out the other videos in the Intentionalize playlist, and don't forget to click the link in the description to learn more about the wardrobe lesson series. Until next time, this is Trisha Childers with Home on Purpose.